Hello, everyone. This is Jeff Looker for WRMU, and I'm speaking today with theater professor Rudy Roggenkamp, the director of the upcoming play The Phantom Tollbooth, which will be broadcast live on WRMU on October 5th. Rudy, thank you for joining us today.
No problem.
First, can you give us a brief synopsis of the play?
Sure. Well, actually, it runs a couple of different ways. One, the synopsis, if I just take the general plot of the story, is about a young boy who is bored with life and boxes delivered to his house, and it sends him on a series of adventures, and he discovers more about himself and more about how to get along in life. He visits a number of odd little places, the town of Dictionopolis, the town of Digitopolis. He rescues the princesses from the castle in the air and sets everything right amongst the two kingdoms, the two towns that he's visiting. So, on one level, it's a sort of a little cute children's story. On another level, it's about overcoming our boredom, about getting beyond doing what we do every day and seeking adventure in life and what it can do for us.
Along with being broadcasted live on the air, the show will also be performed live for an audience on the campus grounds of the Hoover Price Campus Center. Why did you choose that location specifically?
Well, we're in a little bit of a flux this year with the theater department. As some of you may know, the Rodman Playhouse part of the Rodman Crandall Cope complex is being torn down. In fact, on my way over here, had a crane and they were taking down part of the high steel. So we actually do not have our normal performance venue. So we were looking for different performance venues to go into this year. And the idea of doing a radio broadcast of this Readers Theater show and led me to the idea of maybe we could do it in the coffee house, which is right by the radio station physically, so it would be fairly easy to do a live broadcast. It's based on a book by Norton Juster, and the book was adapted into a play by a woman by the name of Susan Nannis. And we have gotten the rights to the play from Samuel French Incorporated, which is a house or a company that does licensing for performances of plays out of New York City. And we also managed to secure from them radio broadcast rights as well.
And why choose the Phantom Tollbooth specifically?
Well, it's a story that I've known for a long time. It's a story that I actually read to my daughters when they were growing up. And actually, I was in a Reader's Theater production of this show, let's say more years ago than you were alive. So it's a show that it's always appealed to me, and I thought it would be fun. And I think it plays well over the radio as a Reader's Theater production rather than a standard production. It plays well that way, and I think our students will be able to identify well with the story.
How would you say a radio play differs from a regular stage production?
Well, the script as written was actually made to be a regular stage production piece. The difference between doing it for stage and doing it for radio, of course, is, in radio, everything has to be oral. So there's no scenery, there's no costumes to be able to convey. You can't see the actors' faces for their, for expression of surprise or whatever. And so you've got to add a lot of things to the show that give you, not adding things to the script itself, but adding vocalizations and stuff in the background that make sure that the audience can hear the emotion of the characters that's going on rather than being able to see it on stage. So that's the biggest difference. And another big difference, of course, is that there's no movement of the actors on stage. So the actors are basically going to be sitting in on stools or in chairs, and when their parts come up, they will move up to a microphone and speak into the microphone. And so it's sort of like a very advanced way of reading a story.
How did you prepare specifically for the play on the radio versus in a theater?
Well, we're still in process of that, actually. We're figuring things out. We have some people that are doing live sound effects, or what are often referred to as Foley effects, that will be creating either vocally or through the use of various tools and stuff, the sound effects that we need in the background, the winds of the storms and all of that kind of stuff. And then basically for rehearsal, we're sitting down each night as a group and working on individual scenes, really working on the voice and how the actor can communicate the character just vocally.
What are some challenges you would say of a radio play in general?
Well, the biggest challenge is that you don't get the audience can't see what's going on. And so you really have to convey it all through just the sense of sound. And that is challenging.
How do you think the audience will respond to a radio play versus a play in a theater?
Well, I hope they respond very well. It's with the situation with the theater department over the next year and a half of not having a performance space, we're having to try many different things. We're doing performances in places that we don't normally do them, and we're doing different styles of pieces than we've done before. So hopefully the audience will respond well. We will have a live audience in the space as well, even on the night when we're doing the radio broadcast. So there will still be audience members there to respond to what's going on, which will help feed the actors and feed the performance. But the main goal is that radio broadcast on Saturday night.
What are your thoughts about doing radio plays in the future?
Oh, I think it's an exciting opportunity for our students. It actually takes a little less rehearsal time because they don't have to memorize their scripts. They don't have to memorize blocking and movement patterns on stage. So I think that there are possibilities in the future for us to continue on with this, maybe even finding some plays that are specifically written for radio versus adapting this one and bringing it forward.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Rudy, for your time.
No problem.
This has been Jeff Looker for WRMU talking with Professor and Director Rudy Roggenkamp. The Phantom Toll Booth will be performed on October 3rd and 4th at 8 p.m. in the campus grounds of the Hooper Price Campus Center, with a live on-air performance on October 5th at 8 p.m. right here on 91.1 WRMU. Thanks for listening.